I've been talking for a lifetime and paid for it for almost a lifetime. Certainly different platform, mostly stand-up comedy. And this journey is obviously there's no way I can't not be funny a little bit here and there. I just see things that way. I try to use the alchemy of laughter in everything that I do. And some things will turn out funny and sometimes people are just they're gonna do what they do. And one of the things that's very important to me in stand-up in any creation is I can't think about what people's reactions are, especially if they're projections, if there's things that they haven't worked out yet and they're projecting it on. I've had it happen a number of times. I even wrote a book and some people criticized the fact that I came out with certain things that made them uncomfortable. I did a one-person show as well when I talked about being kidnapped. And that, along with many things that I share, has to do with, first of all, my own pathway to recovery and freedom, soul freedom. And it has to do with also helping others, including the children that I have. And I want to send messages to those children to not hide, to not live in secrecy. And if I'm saying that about their mom, it's just the truth. And some people are offended by the truth. It goes on in politics all the time. People don't want to hear something and therefore they vilify and attack. If that's you, then move on to something else. If you're here to judge and say you shouldn't say that in front of your children, I believe that the other things that aren't said to the children should not be done. I think that's the harm. I'm watching the tears. I watch their sorrow. I watch their pain. I watch them go inward, missing school, sick more often. My son was number one in his class. His two teachers told him that, and he went on to missing a lot of school and getting not good grades. That's the manifestation of the damage that's done from this cult leader taking their mom away. She took her in a vulnerable state. People talk about menopause. They say that's sexist. No, it's not. You have to say what it is. There is a menopause. It could be a number of things. It could be trauma that wasn't dealt with. She had two brothers that committed suicide within 3 weeks of one another. That's how we met, because she was there to deal with it in a spiritual way at the spiritual center we attended separately. That's where we met. We were just friends for years because we were there to work out something, because I was having difficulties in my marriage at the time. And I really wanted to not blame and make sure that I'm accountable, make sure that this is about me doing everything that I can do to make that marriage work. And I did. But it wasn't meant to be. That was not a fit. This one I really thought was a fit. I remember when we first got together, I said, this is the secret to a great relationship. And I've passed this on to you, and I still believe this, by the way. The secret to a great relationship is I see you for who you truly are, not what I dictate you to be through projection or my past or my wounds. And you see me for who I truly am, not through any other filter. And that's how we began our relationship. And that was what really brought us to some great years together. Was just, I would do things that would normally be punished by my former wife before us, which was anything. Really, anger, stuff that came at me was absurd and made up and truly like vengeful, and just accusations out of nowhere that are just so unfounded. And that was really rough. And here was this past wife. I don't know how to, I have the X-Files going on here. So, and if you lose respect for me because I've been married a number of times, then also move on. I don't think it's about analyzing it. I think this is about maybe search for something inside of yourself that you might get from this, because this is a discovery that I'm having daily, working with people, working with guides, working on myself, on spiritual development. I do my laughter lunges and my serenity squats, and I'm gonna get in tip-top shape spiritually, emotionally. So if you don't want to hang with that, then go to the next podcast. I could do a silly podcast. I could do one that's me being a comedian and hanging out with the boys and the girls and comedy and going back and forth and telling road stories. That's great. It's great. That's not what this is. I'm in the midst of something that's very, very profound. It's bigger than me. And I'm compelled to do this. I don't have a lot of other choices, and we're going to get to that as well. There aren't a lot of choices because of the judgment and because of laws. You know, there's a law that if you make more money, then you pay the other person. So therefore, she did whatever she wanted to do. Spent money on anything that she wanted to spend on, including the scams. And there were several of them. Mommy Minutes, RX, this Raven Year to Millionaire, just what a coaching program from this Robin woman. I knew nothing about it. I was like out earning money, but didn't have the decency to be honest and transparent with her husband. And that's just a fact. You can say, oh, he's bitter or whatever it is. I don't care. I'm letting you know these facts because you might be going through somebody who's an alcoholic, somebody who's joined some other kind of a cult, even a religion or politics, or they're all fixated. I notice politics, people are in this mob mentality. I'm so happy I stepped out. Doing no good. I just saw a guy post on Facebook. How do you feel now, Comey? As if Comey is reading his Facebook post. He's just trying to virtue signal and look like, hey, I'm on the right side here of politics. I'm out. I'm out on all of it because they're both corrupt. And so is my ex-wife, corrupt. And you might not want to hear it about your politician, your religious leader, or your spouse, or whoever it is, but that's just the case here, corrupt. And there's a lot of stuff, or I wouldn't be doing this. It's a lot of stuff to lead to me being highly concerned for even the safety of the children. I'm not using hyperbole or trying to exaggerate or whatever it is. I watched a documentary about this cult with this woman, Lori Vallow. She killed her 2 children, and I was frightened because she lost her way. She had a happy marriage, 2 children, same as I did. Killed those children, got with this leader, this cult type of leader, killed her husband, killed her brother. It's a big story, actually. It's a Netflix special I'm looking at. It's my friend's sister. I've been on his podcast a few times. And let me tell you, one of the reasons I do this is I'm hoping that someone says, hey, I have an answer here, whether it's legal, whether it's an intervention on her, whether it's a friend of hers, a family member of hers that says, hey, Lotus, which we call her here, you really have to examine yourself. You can't take these kids down this path with you. Debauchery, groups that are, there's another documentary called Orgasm Inc., and that's another thing. This leader takes women through orgasm programs, and come on, get your freedom that way. I remember we were married. I'm going, well, where are you getting the orgasms? Where was she getting those orgasms? There was so much secrecy. This isn't a bitter guy talking about being cheated on. I have no idea about cheating. I'm only going to tell you what I do know, the things that were found out. And there's things that weren't found out. And I mentioned that I was going to talk about one of the worst times of my life. And I've had quite a few bad times related to first ex-wife taking us down that road of these accusations that were just, that's a tag that's tough to leave. That's a tough one. Could have gone to prison for that if I wasn't strong and resilient and faced, I'm not going to leave these kids. And a lot of moms and some dads, that's what they do. They poison the children. It's called parent alienation. It was at its worst. all sorts of people are involved in that one, family members. It fractures everyone. That's what it does. I'm imploring all of you, do not take that road, no matter how mad you are at your ex-spouse, no matter how, do not take people through the road of false allegations and accusations. And everything I say here is with concern for her, not false allegations, things that really take place and still do and have taken place. These are stories. These are real stories. They come from just my memory and my gut. I don't have anything written. I have one thing written. I saw this meme. Didn't want to bring this up. Believe it or not, it popped up. AI is unbelievable. I'll say, yeah, my hair is thinning. Boo! Go to Turkey. There's an ad for that. I mean, apparently they must think I have a hard time with erections too, because I'm getting ED advice. Warning signs of a cult. So here you go for your education. In case you have somebody that's going down this road, they're never going to call it a cult. There's no way she calls it that. I've asked her many times, can you at least be examined? Can you at least go to a professional? Can you at least get a diagnosis? And this will tell you the level that we're talking about. No, 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 no. This is a person that says, oh, I don't have any difficulties. In the meantime, broke, leaves the family, steals, lies, cheats. Whew. I don't have a problem. So at least see if you maybe you do have menopause. Maybe you have a midlife crisis or whatever it is. Or maybe you haven't dealt with trauma from your past, like your brothers and so on. Maybe. Why not research it? It's something not to do a bypass on is when you have brothers who would commit suicide. There's something there you might take care of. You just can't ignore it. That's what I'm saying to everyone here. I'm not ignoring my stuff. What I do bring in too. But I'm not going to stand by. Not going to stand by and allow these children to be affected like my first two were. I did my best on that one and backfired because I was so strong in my agenda as this is not going to happen. And, but that's, moms are more powerful than dads. Let's face it. And it's not a sexist thing to say. It's just, of course, I'm generalizing. It's pretty much true, especially with boys. The mom gives the boy kind of what they want, probably not what they need. And there's a difference. Warning signs of a cult. Here it is. Number one, the leader is always right. I've confronted this woman broke. We're calling her broke. You can buy another vowel and put it somewhere if you like. And I've watched her deal with other people who they come at her and they'll say, this is awful to do to your children. Bragging about cheating on her husband and bragging about her sexual escapades as a middle-aged woman and getting her, it's just all of this, just braggadocio. So why do you have to tell other people? Try to encourage them to leave their husbands. That's what she did. Criticism of the leader or questioning the leader is considered persecution. Yeah. My ex-wife could never criticize this woman. I've asked her so many times. I was sorry, the evidence, the actual proof of this woman is a con artist. Look at the results. Look at the bank accounts. Look at all these things that you said. Oh, they got me another cryptocurrency thing. That was a ripoff. She lied to me and didn't tell me that broke was involved in that and was at the top of the funnel, however that works with the multi-level marketing. That woman's at the top every single time and uses my ex-wife and just uses her by appealing to her ego. Oh, you're the greatest. You're so sweet. You're awesome. Let's have a listening party. Let's listen to you. Yeah, listening party where you just talk and nobody feeds back to you with truth and honesty and reflection. So therefore, you can go to a listening party and lie your ass off. If she can lie to me direct to my face so many times, of course she's going to lie to everyone else because it's what it looks like. It's the ego. Number three, anything the leader does is justified no matter how harmful it may be. Oh, yeah. justified coming after me and threatening to take my children from me, justifies it all the way. It's because you said some things, you were threatening. I didn't do these threats that they were talking about. They never heard from me. And they justified their actions, and still to this day, they've not taken that off the table. And neither has my ex-wife. I have text messages. I have enough on you to take you down. I've contacted my lawyers. You will stop this right now. This from a guy who beat her kid to the point child services would call. So my ex-wife, she looks at the leader, can do no wrong. I had my kids, they confronted her. They said, is it true that he was there's some excuse. Oh, he was yelling loud or something, and the neighbors called or something like that. Some lie. The leader is the only source of the truth. Everybody else is lying. Well, there you go. These are warning signs of a cult. Number 5, followers must be blindly devoted to the leader and never question him or her. My ex does not question why there's no money coming in, why she's not wealth building for other mamas. She uses the term mamas all the time. It's this thing that appeals to women who probably have a difficult time at home. Yeah, maybe. Maybe they feel dominated by the man. Maybe my ex felt dominated by me. True. Perception-wise. Reality-wise, I am there in support, backing up or going to therapy or whatever it takes. That's who this guy is. I can't speak for other guys. And I understand the history of the world. Men are dominant creatures. But what's weird is it's a woman who creates every penis. That's a fact. But there's this underlying resentment that is historical, and it's built up. And I get it, because big time feminist my whole life, served me no good purpose. And I'm still very compassionate, empathetic towards women, 100%. I shouldn't say 100% because there's so much a part of me that has to have compassion and empathy for me and for men. And this pendulum has swung so far, Me Too movement, bad date gets included. So now we get that label affixed to us, and there's no getting out of it. So I'm the abuser, the bully, bad guy, all of that. And who are they going to believe? This big, successful, 6'2", 220-pound man with a big mouth, followers? Or are you going to believe the meek one, the quiet one, the one who puts out love messages, the one who dances on camera, the one who puts filters on the camera and makes sure that she has this beautiful light around her, the flowers, naming herself Lotus, all of that stuff? Who are you going to believe? That's obvious. And the con artists know that. The last one is the members won't recognize they are in a cult. Well, there you go. I've said it numerous times to Lotus. It's a cult. You can't tell me otherwise. You can't tell me that you are following this woman and left our family, and your own children tell you all the time that that's what you did. Doesn't mean anything, because the cult is that powerful, and that's that much more. It's more important than the family. She took the interest of this woman, using Lotus to be on the downline and all that kind of stuff, and promoting her orgasm programs and BDSM. She poses with a riding crop, and there's all of that I have to worry about, that messaging getting to my children, the dominance. I'm going to read, coming up in the next episode, I'm going to read the post that this woman has done, the leader has done. So it's not like people say you'd be sued. I can't be sued if all of this is fact. It's just fact. I will read it to you, and it's up to you from there. Maybe you might say, I want to join. You want to join her with her sovereign freedom and get out of your golden cage. All this other terminology that hits vulnerable people. That's how cult leaders work. My dad was a cult leader. I know you're laughing. Oh boy, this guy. Yeah, my life is a weird one. It's also, I really dig the fulfilling parts of getting better, of the wellness, of the healing, of the processes that take place. They're not just, that's my lot in life. Oh, it happened again. Yeah, look at that repeat. And now the two ex-wives accuse me of this. Da, da, da. You know, both do it in different ways, but it's still the basic same thing. Luckily, these children were old enough, have enough experience with me, as opposed to the other ones were young and influenced, and police stations and lawyers and minors counselors. That was their life. They have PTSD to this day. I feel really bad for them. Nothing I can do, though. See, that rescue boy, I can't do anything about it. I can ask that other people might, maybe if they're listening and they know them, they might say to them, hey, just meet with your dad or meet with a neutral party. I always offer that to everyone because I have nothing to hide. And as far as these things go, unfortunately, these children have witnessed it. And they're very clear, by the way. They are very, very clear on the things that have taken place. They witnessed violence numerous times. They were kidnapped twice. They witnessed snapping out by their mom, tantrums. They witnessed complete disassociation, walking out of rooms in the middle of conversations, just so mean. You just stand there going, hey, can you please not go? Right? Can you please not? No, doesn't matter how I couch it. She's going to go. She can cut off. I used to call it the face. She put this face on. She went from the most beautiful woman in the world to the ugliest woman in the world. Completely cut off. And it felt like demonic possession. And listen, it happens. That's the ego in some of us. Like, you don't think it can happen to you. Of course it can happen. My ego told me it couldn't happen, especially with her. Was I fooled? I don't know. So one time, this is when this was when things got really rough and I started to get out of denial about how powerful the first cult was. Like I said, this broke took her to this year to millionaire. And I saw a scam right away. I told her that, but I endorsed it. You pay $10,000, $20,000, and you go into a mansion with this Raven coaches you and teaches you how to be a millionaire. 1 month, you move in with her. And one thing about my ex-wife, she's so dedicated. When she gets into something, she got into it. She was like listening to this woman, buying her food and feeding her, turned into this whole crazy control thing, of which Broke was like the co-sponsor of this. Her husband was directing this thing, and it sounded conceptually like it was kind of cool. It was going to be a reality show on how to be a millionaire. Conceptually, it sounded good. That's the thing about con artists. They sound good. It's a nice little program that they present. It's a pitch. They're pitching all the time and they're bragging. And when you uncover it, which I have friends who are like lawyers, they'll always uncover, whereas I'm naive. And I was naive with that my Lotus was really naive, dove in. And there was no mansion. Here I was trying to fix that too, trying to find a mansion for them. Gets in there, and then people start dropping, and this woman's really abusive and humiliates people. That's the other thing is the cult. What they do is they shame you if somebody's about to leave, and they make deals, or you have to sign a contract, and you're going to break the contract. Yeah, it's all manipulation. I'm warning you. These are the telltale signs. When they manipulate people's minds into believing in this mob mentality, and it becomes a mob mentality. And this is how things like the Holocaust happen. This is how it happens, how innocent people are sucked into this. And understand, if I ever come up with any comparisons, it's not like, oh my God, he's comparing it to the Holocaust. It's just off the top of my head. It's just something that maybe you can understand, that this is what happens to people. It might not be as severe as the Holocaust. Get a knock at the door. Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Jordan. Told him to come in at 25 minutes and say, are you being heavy handed? Because he was warning me about being heavy handed on these things. I said, that's his thought on it, because the young guy hasn't been through these things. And so I can understand. It's almost like feedback. Here's feedback coming from one person who's probably not the audience for this. So broke. One by one, people leave the Year to Millionaire. You know it. There's my ex all the way to the end. I had brought an interventionist in, my friend Ted, who's the head of multi-level marketing. He said, I've never heard of this woman who was saying that she was at the top of the heap and all this. Lotus believed her. Who did it cost? It cost me a fortune. And please, that's not sexist. It's just the fact. I paid for all of this hard work. I come from nothing. Built this up, handed this money over. There's no golden cage. There's no abuse. There's no control. Here you go. Here you go. Can you check that out, please? No. She went all the way. Then she finally got out. And my son, he was really little at the time. He called it, I'd say, where's mommy? Boo group. He's very low key the way he talks. He's like 75 years old, this old soul. He's such a sweet kid. Where's mommy? Boo group. So we called it Boo Group. So one day he goes, Mommy's getting out of Boo Group. I go, really? And I had him crawl next to her as she's on her Skype at the time, their Skype call. I'm going, is she getting out? He crawls back to me and goes, she's still staying in Boo Group. We used to call him the alien. And she did. She stayed until the very end. And even then, they humiliated her. Broke did too. She went down to San Diego to honor her contract and her word. I'm going to go down to the San Diego to this event with another multi-level marketing thing. And she shows, and they shamed her. And then that broke up. Raven sues us because all those 12, 20 people all came against her and said she ripped us off for $500,000. And it all reversed. That's the way the society works sometimes. Makes no sense to me. The people with integrity, the honesty, the people, the hardworking people, you get ripped off. And then those people, because they know how to manipulate the law, they know how to use the law, they know how to use people. We think she slept with the lawyer that would take on a case like this. There I was. In depositions, I was in the lawsuit too, because I said something on Twitter about her. You're damn right I did. You're damn right. I'm going to warn people, don't go down this path. So I'm in there, and I saw her in the parking lot. She didn't know it was me because I wasn't part of the group. She's talking to me. She's flirting with me. She realized who I was, an old Philly boy. When I got in that conference room, I stared her down, like, look at me in the eye. I always say that about people who lie. Look at me. Go ahead. I dare you. Look into this person that you are hurting. Look into this person you are causing pain to his family, of which he's the patriarch. Look at this hardworking man who sacrifices, and you stole money to pay your credit card bills. She got away with it. And Broke stayed with her to the very end. Then Broke forms her own leadership role. Egomaniacal. Mommy minutes. Suddenly they're doing these mommy minutes, and Brooke's pontificating about mamas and telling mamas how to raise their children, and here's how to do it, and homeschool them, and all of these theories and theories and theories. Powerful, powerful theories that has so much passion. Narcissists have so much passion. You believe them. And sure enough, Lotus did, went right along with it. It was like her co-captain, I can't even say captain because she was always lower and wanted to be her. Then another multi-level, but then they were in soap. Then they were RX or some other thing. They were in crypto or Negus. I forget what that, I can't remember the names of all these things. Then they go on a medicine journey. She comes back from the medicine journey that this woman brought her to, that comes up with the medicine journey, says, takes $9,000 and spends it. The woman that does the medicine journey, the shaman, suddenly has a coaching program that Lotus joins that too. She's going to be a coach now. She's in the marriage. She's out of the marriage. One time she came back. I kind of liked it. You're my king. I was like, I can go with this. Not for my egos. We're kind of cool. And I said, you're my queen. It only lasted 3 weeks. And it's right back to cut off and cut right into Brooke's listening parties, hundreds of hours with this woman being programmed, brainwashed. And that became the new Boo Group. And my son is really aware of this. That's what I can't believe. We brought these 2 children. Oh my God, it's just so beautiful. So beautiful children that bring them into the world and then just go, I'm done. I'm done because I'm going to follow this fraud. I'm not going to follow these great times and these games we play and all this fun that we have, this incredible life that she actually texts me all the time and says, oh, you're so generous and all this. We have an unbelievable, extraordinary life. We see the world. We go around the country, Hawaii, we do all these vacations. We do all of these things. That's what she says. Nope, I'm going to stop all of that. Not process my own stuff. I'm not going to heal myself. I'm going to put my healing. I'm going to deify somebody. This leader, I'm not going to call a leader. She's just my friend. That's what she would say. It's a lie. That's what people like this do. They lie. So then she started getting secretive. I found money that she moved over into an account, $20,000. She did the $9,000. I mean, there was so much of this going on. This is this woman who we founded ourselves in integrity. That was our thing, integrity and God and consciousness and spirituality. That was what is founded. And I will tell you, one mistake that I made is I didn't stay that path with her. Went off on my own path as well. And she went on hers, and she ended up deifying, canonizing this woman who just kept taking her down one multi-level after the next. Freedompreneurs, all these catchy words and all this BS. She went away to Australia with her, and then I'm reading about, I said, she cheated on her husband. She's saying it right here. So, oh, it's okay. It was meant to be. Oh, whatever time. Oh, boy. When you're endorsing that with a woman who's talking about integrity in her businesses, yeah, you got a little problem. And I love saying this too, because I'm just out in the truth. And I'm going to read you the next time. I'm going to read you what this woman wrote herself. And she's pontificating all the time. She's so arrogant. That's what a cult leader is. They're arrogant. They don't think about the consequences. I have 2 children that hate this woman, but they don't have the word. I shouldn't use the word hate. They don't have any hate in their hearts. They're so beautiful. They just don't have it. But they know what destroyed their mom. Mom's unrecognizable, to the point where I was working in Phoenix. I worked my ass off. Even during COVID, I'm performing and doing a comedy show, and I got COVID. I finally got it. I did meet and greet because I'm so codependent. I didn't want to disappoint people. I knew I was going to get it. And I got it. I flew home a day early, surprised her. Next day, I'm in bed, I'm coughing, and she says, I'm going to the library. And I'm an instinctual guy. I really am. I'm psychic. I actually even see clients for psychic. I'm very intuitive. It makes me a good comic and writer and so forth. Said she's not at the library. I got up, got in the car. She was not at the library. I start texting her. And this is how people gaslight, just so you know, when you're dealing with a narcissist, this is how they gaslight. They reverse it. Like, you're the problem because you're now texting harassing. So my emails and my text messages through all these years, that's what's been going on. It's received like, same with the other exes. Oh, here he goes with his emails again. I wouldn't send a single email if you answered a question, or if you were honest, or if you were transparent. There wouldn't be a single email, because I'm longing for an answer for the children, to raise children, for just decency, for kindness, for the love of family, for the love that we allegedly have when we make vows with one another. Yes, that's to be expected. In sickness and in health. Yes, if you're sick, let's share it. Okay, let's find a solution, whatever it is. And where are you? I said. I wouldn't tell me. She came back home and wouldn't tell me. I said, you're lying again. She goes, that's not lying. I'm just not telling you. She avoided it, and she'll scratch her ears even though I'm saying no. And I become intense. I'm giving her exactly what she needs. Oh, now it's justified. Look at him. I don't go to the point of rage like she does. I'm too big for that anyway. I have to hurt people. And I finally, 5 hours later, at nighttime, the kids are in bed. That's how long this lasts. I said, tell me where you were. Just imagine that. I'd like you to have some compassion and some empathy for the people who judge. And they do judge. And the man is judged. I'm going to tell you how the man was judged in this case. Intensely, yes, I said, tell me where you were. Refused to answer. This woman's good at cutting off. She's become an auteur, an expert at cutting off and disassociating with no feeling at all. The person who I took these vows in Hawaii with, looked in her eyes, and this is the most incredible person I've ever met in my life, has become this disconnected, disrespectful, hurtful, mean, cruel human being. That's mean to do to somebody. It's mean and cruel. And then to gaslight, to top it all off and act like I'm the problem for asking. Then I was the problem for the way I asked. I took her phone, held it up in the air. I said, I'll give this back. I was so desperate. I will give this phone back to you if you just tell me where you were today when you lied to me and told me you're at the library and you really weren't. Well, instead of telling me, she started to walk away, did her thing. She was going to walk out into the night. She's done it before. She turns around and charges me. It's a strong woman. She was once an electrician on movie sets. This is a strong woman, and especially strong with her rage, which she's never dealt with in her life. She came at me, tearing at my clothes, scratching me, punching me, clawing at me, crawling for that phone that she wanted so bad. Probably frightened of what I would see on the phone, which I have seen things before, by the way, which we'll get to. Now, people might say, well, she was just having an affair. I don't know. I don't know what she was doing. I have a feeling it was the cult. She was always trying to protect the cult, protect this woman broke, because she knew that I was on to her. So we're on the floor, still keeping it away from her. She's crawling. And I pushed her off of me. She ran off into the night. And sure enough, knock at the door. It's the cops. Step outside. Kids are there. Handcuffed me. I said, what are you doing? I said, well, look, I've got scratches. No, they didn't care. The man kept repeating me, this cop. I was pleading with him. Please, my hands were behind my back. The back of this car in the middle of my neighborhood was so embarrassing, humiliating. Please listen to me. Please look at the scratches. He kept saying, you can thank OJ. Now, we all know the responses with OJ and all of that. We all know about abuse and what it led to. People were in denial that it did lead to that. I'm not one of them. But that's not who I am. But I got that label because I'm a man. If I really did hit her, let's use some common sense. A big man, very strong. One hit, she'd be out. She'd have marks, whatever. I remember one time she had marks from her clawing at me. She hurt herself trying to get her bag away from me, and she hurt her finger. So then she runs to her friends and goes, look how abusive he is. This is what women do. You understand? This is what women do. Some women do, okay? Don't be mad at me. Not all women. Some women do this. They use this society to their advantage, and that's what she did. She got these police. I was arrested, and I spent the night with COVID on a slab with no out. No one to call. What's going on? And finally, she kidnapped the kids, took them to an undisclosed location, wouldn't let them speak to me. A father that loves them and they love me. They're going, what are you doing, mommy? They have no idea what she's doing. It's insanity. And me, I'm trying to make some sanity out of it and trying to say, no, this isn't the direction to go. But no, that didn't matter to her. Restraining order. I'm getting pounds on my door. I had to run away to my friend Caroline's house and stay in her guest house. This is the stuff that happened that I didn't know how to deal with. An honest, truthful guy is just saying, hey, can we get the truth here? Can we go to therapy? Can we do something to get you out, snap you out of this brainwashing that I'm that guy that would be arrested and you restrain your children from me? It's on my record for the rest of my life. Can't get it expunged from nothing. It's not the first, it's not the last time she kidnapped the kids. They don't deserve it, and I don't deserve it. And she doesn't deserve to be doing this to herself. I have more along these lines. Time is up. I hope that this connects with some people to the point where you understand that somebody's behaving alcoholically, addicted, could be anything, raging, whatever it is. I hope this connects with you. If somebody's following and deifying someone, and I'm going to talk straight politics here. You all know, I don't have to hide it, that people believe that there are Trumpers and MAGA and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to say either way. I will tell you that everything is mob mentality whenever you're deifying politicians or any leaders. You're just deifying. It's not going to work. Ourselves, our own consciousness will win. Love, commitment to that, commitment to family. And that's where I'm committed. Maybe I should be committed for doing this. Yeah, it's the wrong road to go. It probably is. I have no idea. No lawyer would say to do this. I guarantee you that. And I don't like the terms that they come up with either. I have not enjoyed the legal process. It is a nightmare, and it is not favored towards men. I will guarantee you that. It's not favored towards the people that make more money. I guarantee you that's just a fact. I'm going to tell you when we come back, another huge thing that happened. It was another one you just go, you gotta be kidding me. Really? So, adios. I never know how to say goodbye. My father. Mother used to say, your father doesn't know how to say goodbye.